Welcome back. We were talking to Chef Jesse earlier on in the show. He's talking about some of the fabulous food that you're going to expect. Of course, amazing experience and beverages, a great networking event. And that event is called Harvest, a Feast of Fall. It's happening on Wednesday, September the 13th. And all the proceeds are going to a great organization. And clinical supervisor from YouTurn Youth Support Services, Melanie Black, joining me on the show. Welcome, Melanie. Great to have you here. Let's talk about YouTurn Youth Support Services. I think this is a great opportunity to introduce them to our community because I think it's one of these sort of hidden gems that not a lot of people know about. Give us an idea of who you support in the community.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're a small organization. Small but mighty is the way that I like to describe us because we work with some of the highest risk youth in our community. So we service a large area, Ottawa, Stormont, Dundas, Glengarry, Prescott, Russell, as well as Renfrew County, providing counseling, community support, individualized counseling for youth in a variety of different programs.
And so how long have you been around now, Melanie?
YouTurn has been around for as long as I'm alive, and I'm not a young spring chicken.
You and me both, yeah.
So we've been an organization, we've changed names a couple of times to try and A, keep up with the times, and D, to kind of remove the stigma around the youth that we serve, because we used to be like the Ontario Youth Justice Service Agency, and that kind of is very stigmatizing for youth in conflict.
Yeah, I agree, and I think sometimes the media doesn't do a great job in talking about youth and talking about the struggles that they go through. And we sort of, I hate some of the narrative that we have around it. They're not resilient anymore, and when I was young, and I think we need to stop that and really start listening to youth. And are you seeing sort of a growth in how many youth are having to come to you and using your services, Melanie?
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah, we are serving higher and higher risk youth. Like the needs that they experience, the struggles that they face are huge. I understand what you mean in terms of like the way people think of youth as, they're given so much, everything's technology, they don't know how to socialize, but we work with youth who've been through so much, and our counselors do such good work at motivating them to succeed, at seeing the success that they can achieve for themselves.
Well, let's break down some of the programs. So one, you have a youth transition worker program. Tell me about that.
Yes, our youth in transition program is specifically for youth who are exiting the child welfare system. So who have some kind of agreement with the child welfare, whether it's a voluntary youth service agreement, whether they've been Crown wards, and they're transitioning towards independence. So it helps build their skills and capacity, either in finding housing for themselves for the first time, if they've been in foster care their whole lives, how to live on their own, connecting them with the proper education, whether it's high school, post-secondary, that kind of thing, as well as employment, helping connecting them with jobs so that they can be self-sustained on their own.
We'll talk about some other programs in a moment, but what about funding? Where does the majority of your funding come from?
So it comes from a variety of different sources. Events like the Harvest Field of Fall is a huge help in terms of, drops in our small bucket. We provide, it depends on the program in terms of where we get our funding from, but any kind of opportunity like this, like we're a nonprofit charitable organization, all of the funding for opportunities like this goes straight into the client work, which is fantastic.
I know we touched on it with Jesse, but maybe expand upon what people can expect. What have you got planned for the big harvest celebration?
Yeah, our staff are so excited. I am so excited.
I am excited. I can't wait to go.
When I was like, ooh, sous vide, like I'm gonna sit by his table. I mean, it's just meant to be. Our staff are going to be there to help set up.
Excellent.
At the registration table, so you can speak to our staff directly about the great work that they do. Because we serve some of the highest risk kids all over the place.
I think it's a great opportunity to hear from people that are working with those youth. So it's great to hear that members of your team are going to be there with an opportunity to speak to them directly. A couple of other things. The intensive support and supervision program. Tell me about that one. That one stood out to me.
It's a very specialized program. So essentially, if there is a youth who has either complex mental health needs and or complex developmental delay, disability, and commits a crime that is serious enough to warrant custody, it's an alternative to that.
Okay.
So it's under the Youth Criminal Justice Act has this as a sentencing option. If there's a youth that you know of, someone out in the community who kind of meets these criteria, it can be an option for the court to present instead of them going into custody where they can become institutionalized. There can be greater risk that happens with these really complex youth. So
they might not have the programs, right, that are necessary to help a young person. I think that's part of the problem with sort of the institution, right? When you go in it, you're not necessarily getting the help that you need, especially at a young age, Melanie.
Exactly.
Another one, you have multi-education programs, but anti-human trafficking.
Yes.
I think a lot of people that have lived in Ottawa their whole life, like I have, probably think to themselves, well, this is Ottawa. That doesn't happen here. It does.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's a major issue.
Yes.
Can you just expand on that for us?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's a program that's very near and dear to my heart, as I was once the counselor working with youth before I became a supervisor in this program. And exactly, there's no boundary when it comes to human trafficking and sexual exploitation. Even when we're working in communities, smaller communities such as Renfrew County, Prescott Russell, Cornwall region, anywhere, unfortunately, where there is an online presence, there is a risk for exploitation happening.
Right.
Traffickers are very, they have a lot of skills in terms of being able to lure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, they know how to groom. This is something that a learned skill that they do. And I've talked about it on the show many times, and it always surprises me, the numbers. It's quite shocking.
Yeah.
I'll end with this, Melanie. Thank you so much for being here. I cannot wait for the event. I'll remind everybody at home. It is happening on Wednesday, September 13th. It's 6 to 10 p.m. It's going to be so casual, so much fun. You can find out ticket information at harvestottawa.ca.